All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Okay, guys, so in yesterday's video, I did talk about how because we were seeing some pretty bad bear divs on the 4 hour on NAMI, that our 106K level of support might not hold, and that we could drop through it and continue seeing a bigger retrace on this $10,000 impulse to the upside. So we had this giant impulse to the upside of $10,000. And for the past 6 days, we've been ranging within this upper range. Let me go ahead and throw that volume profile on the charts. And I'll turn off the bigger one. So what we had saw on Sunday, we had come up and we had taken the liquidity of the highs with some bear divs on the chart. Now, once we drop and re-enter back within that volume profile, and then especially the confirmation of re-entry by back testing the value area high and rejecting, you expect to move down to the value area low. Well, we got that move down to the value area low. We bounced from the value area low, but then we came up again and rejected again the value area high, showing that the market is now looking at trading within this fair value. And yesterday, we talked about how we could continue grinding down because we had taken the liquidity of the range highs multiple times. We could continue grinding down to our golden pocket level of support, which is also that key anchored VWAP. Well, overnight and early this morning, we had some news, high impact news on the charts, and we pushed down, barely front running that area of support. Let me throw that golden pocket on the chart real quick so that we can get a look at that. And we front ran that level of support, and then the news came in, and we got a push up from the news-based push up to the upside. But because we were below the value area low, I did post in the Discord, if we see a rejection on the bearish backtest of this value area low, then we are going to drop at least to 106K, but we could continue dropping much bigger, coming down to our deeper levels of support to the downside. So you can see we did come up. We did try to attempt to get back with inside that volume profile, but we failed and rejected. So then we had a quick flush down to our level of support. But because we had front run that level of support just earlier, we had busted through that level of support and then even came back up. You can see once you lose that golden pocket, oftentimes on low time frames, you will come back up and back test that golden pocket as a resistance. And that's exactly what we did. We came back up, back tested the golden pocket. We did not, and we rejected the golden pocket. So we came down and made new lows. Now, those new lows were into a level of support that I didn't talk about in yesterday's video, but and I just deleted the level, but we did have our 786 there, and we had a naked daily point of control that was at 1055. Let me turn on those naked daily points of control. You can see here, we did have, let's throw that on the chart, a naked daily point of control. And let's turn this off now. We had our 786 in confluence with a naked daily point of control down here, and this is about the level we're attempting to hold now. But our money flow looks pretty bearish on Market Cipher B on multiple time frames. Yes, we are seeing bull divs on NAMI, and bull divs are continuing to build on NAMI. So there's a possibility this holds, or just below the lows we just made, we do have our point of control. I'll go into that in just a second. But because we have now lost 106K after bouncing from the 786 and the naked daily point of control earlier today in the Discord, I did a stream and I talked about now, guys, we need to watch for a bearish backtest of the anchored VWAP. And if we do come up and reject the bearish backtest of the anchored VWAP, we're probably going to continue grinding down. Also, you can see we've been grinding down in a pretty steady descending channel. And I showed this earlier today on the stream as well. We have this, and I just pulled on the 1 hour chart. Let me hide some of these things to get them out of the way. Taken from the high to a lower high and then down to our first initial lows. We have been grinding within this descending channel, and we had the bottom of that channel in alignment pretty much with the naked daily point of control, just a little bit below it. So I did say in the Discord, we might continue grinding down until we hit the bottom of the channel. We did, we bounced, and we rejected the anchored VWAP now that we're below it. And you can see after rejecting, we're kind of just continuing this grind down within this descending channel. So 106K is not holding as support. It's now being flipped into resistance. So we need to watch for that to continue to act as resistance. And also, if we turn on our 6-day range that we have been in, we are below the value area low of that range. So because we are below the value area low of this range, and we can suspect that Bitcoin will continue dropping to the next levels of support. It's not going to bounce in the middle of nowhere. It's going to continue dropping to like areas of interest, areas of support, before we can see a bigger actually reversal to the upside. Now, I would like to say that we are building a very, very steep trail of liquidity with this descending channel. And you can see the anchored VWAP is in alignment with the top of the channel here. So if we can reclaim this anchored VWAP, it's also the top of the channel. We could see a nice short squeeze, squeezing out this whole trail of liquidity and possibly pushing all the way up to 109K, where we have that liquidity into the top of our bigger 7.5 week descending channel. But as long as we're below 106K, and actually in particular, the value area low of our 6-day range at 106.8K, we could suspect that we are going to continue grinding down until we hit our levels of support. Right now, we are below the 786 and we are below our naked daily point of control. So we just look to our next level of support. As a trader, we're not trying to predict what Bitcoin is going to do. We're just trying to map out the levels of interest on the chart. And if we have confirmations to enter at those levels, we enter at those levels. So the next level of support is going to be, I showed you guys yesterday, the channel midline in confluence with our 0.5 Fibonacci, and that 0.5 is pulled from the lows of this $10,000 impulse to the highs. Let me turn on, did I delete that? Okay, let's pull that again here, 0.5. And you can see that it's coming in right around our area, our channel midline. So this channel midline is important because it's been our 7.5 week trend, and it's a support level in our 7.5 week trend. So we could continue grinding down to about 103.7 to 103.5, or 103.8 to 103.5. And that could be the next level where we bounce from. We also have our point of control of our 7.5 week range that is literally just below us. We might see a small bounce from here. So there's a lot of local levels of support to be looking at. So I understand you're saying, oh, you're giving us all these different levels. Of course, it's going to bounce from one of these levels and you're going to say I was right. Guys, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about identifying the key levels where we could see a bounce and looking for confirmations to enter long at those levels. So we just, as traders, we play level to level. Right now, our level of support is just below us. This could bounce us, and then we could break out of that channel and break up to 109K. What we're going to be looking for is confirmations on NAMI and Market Cipher B to enter those trades. But we're not trying to predict what we're going to do. So if we do continue grinding down to this point of control, we could see a bounce from this point of control. But now that we're below the value area low of our 6-day range and the anchored VWAP from the all-time high, those are going to be acting as resistance. So we could bounce from this point of control only to come up to 106.2 or 106.8 and reject and continue a bigger trend to the downside, continue the bigger draining to the downside. So the next level we could look at is 103.5. There's nothing in between that really can give us a bounce. You know, we do have the lows of this little dead cat area here, but that's about it. And so I would be looking to come down to 103.5-ish, 103.5 to 103.7. If we do come down there with continued bull divs, we're seeing, you know, maybe some 1 hour bull divs on the chart here, lower lows in the price action, higher lows in the momentum waves, and our money flow is starting to bottom out and come to the upside, I will look for long at this level. And because we would be losing our point of control of the more intermediate range, our 7.5 week range, I will play this first as a scalp. So I will long this, and my first take profit level will be a 1.3% move to the upside, you know, a few $1,000 or a couple $1,000 up to the point of control at 105, you know, from 103.5 to 105. So a $1,500 move to the upside. That's a 1.37% move, and that is absolutely good enough for a scalp long opportunity. 1.3, 1.5, depending on where you do that. And then I would TP1 at that point of control and set my stop loss to break even, protecting my position. And the reason why I would play this as a scalp first is because we would be below our more intermediate range point of control. So if you're below this point of control, your probability is to continue draining and dropping, dumping to the downside to the value area low of the range. So we could see a small bounce here, only to come up and reject that point of control, and then continue to work our way down to our value area low, which is also in confluence with our golden pocket from the lows of the impulse to the highs of the impulse. I've shown you guys that in yesterday's video, so I'm not going to remark out that golden pocket, but it is in this green box in confluence with our 7.5 week range value area low. Now, if we're looking in terms of Elliott waves, of this $10,000 impulse to the upside being a wave 1, then most commonly your wave 2, often the most common targets for a wave 2 retrace are between the 0.5 and the 786, with the 382 being a less common, and then also your 886 is not an invalidation, but it's a very uncommon level to bounce from. Most common area to bounce by far is the golden pocket, which we also have nice value area low confluence. So we could suspect that we're going to rotate down to 102.5, bouncing from the value area low of our 7.5 week range, bouncing from the golden pocket, and then we could see an explosive move to the upside to come take out the liquidity at 109K or even the all-time highs. That is an area where I will be looking for a potential swing long opportunity. But as we're grinding down there, I want to see some bull divs on the chart for confirmations to enter. Then, guys, if 102.5 does not hold, there really is nothing left in this area. You can see this giant imbalance candle here. There is nothing left in this area that would keep us from dropping down. And I didn't cover this in yesterday's video, but I covered it in my stream today. We do have a liquidity grab, a key internal liquidity grab into an 886 Fibonacci. Now, the reason why I'm paying attention to the 886 Fibonacci, because oftentimes in these sideways ranges, sideways and down or sideways and up ranges, you do see rejections and bounces from the 886. Like, matter of fact, this area right here was an 886 rejection, the fib pulled from the all-time high down to your initial lows. That was an 886 rejection where we rejected, and since then we have not come back up there. So now that we've seen a clean impulse here to the upside, most common area to bounce is the golden pocket, but you can drop even all the way down to your 886, and you could see a bounce from there. If we do bounce from that 886, though, I will be looking for a lower high to come in on the charts before continuing down and taking the liquidity of the lows of that impulse. So 886 is another level that we could look for, the SFP, and the only way I would take it is if we do, say we lose this area, the golden pocket and value area low, I would not look to set a limit order and bounce at the 886. I would wait until we reclaimed the lows at 99,677, and then I would enter long once we reclaim those lows with my stop below the wick that hit the 886. And then you would enter long looking to push it up. You could take profit at the point of control of the range, or your first level would be the value area low, because now that we're below the value area low of our big range, there's a possibility we continue dropping to take new lows. And then yesterday, I covered it in yesterday's video. I'm also interested in the liquidity grab of the lows of that impulse, because you can see our anchored VWAP from the lows is coming in at the bottom of the channel, which is also a liquidity grab. So I know I'm giving a lot of different levels of support. It's not about trying to predict what Bitcoin is going to do or say, I told you so. It's about identifying the key levels and looking for confirmations to enter trades at those key levels. That is what we are looking at for Bitcoin, and there's a possibility this whole thing, we are in this bigger 7-week descending channel. We rotated from the bottom of the channel all the way up to the top of the channel. Well, there is a possibility that we rotate all the way back down to the bottom of the channel and continue this bigger range because we have a bigger correction, because we do know that, and I showed you guys this in yesterday's video and the past few weeks here, we had a nice 50% impulse to the upside from 74K to new all-time highs to 112K. And that impulse took 45 days. So if we look at our trend-based Fibonacci time, we do know that on July 6th, we do have the 1-to-1 fib time. And oftentimes your correction will last as long as the impulse, if not even longer than the impulse. And so we could suspect that maybe we are going to see a deeper retrace and a breakdown to the lower levels of this descending channel, to the lower levels of support within this descending channel. But this descending channel is the trend that we have been trading in for 7.5 weeks. And so I will be looking at the lows of this trend for long opportunities. Overall, I do not expect Bitcoin to break down underneath at 96.5. We do have our macro point of control. And I would suspect that we are not going to lose 96.5 before seeing this correction finish, this 7-8 week correction finish, and seeing a push up to make new all-time highs. So overall, my bias is bullish on larger time frames, but I would say that locally it is looking like we could see a bigger, deeper retrace down to lower support levels of our $10,000 impulse to the upside. So that is kind of what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin. Money flow doesn't look the best right now. We are starting to develop some bull divs. Let's zoom out onto the 4-hour chart. You can see the 4-hour, no bull divs on the 4-hour. Money flow is still kind of draining out of the asset. So I would suspect, and then also we are in that very steep descending channel. Let's go to the 24-minute chart. Very steep descending channel, and we could continue grinding in this descending channel at least until we hit that point of control. But if we hit that point of control and start to break this channel to the upside, which is also the anchored VWAP, I think we'll get a very aggressive short squeeze because we have a very steep coil of liquidity that is building. So, couple possibilities to be watching for. We want to see bull divs coming in on the chart. Now, on the 24-minute, we are starting to see some nice bull divs. Higher lows in the momentum waves and lower lows in the price action. But we have not actually come down to support yet. So if we come down there and can continue to see bull divs developing, we could look for at least scalp long opportunities. But once again, guys, you don't want to trade in the middle of nowhere. You don't want to open a long right here because we're starting to develop bull divs. You want to wait until we get down to support levels. Okay, guys, that is honestly about it for Bitcoin. It's looking like we might see this correction continue for a bit longer. If you got anything out of this video, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. We do have a couple sponsors of the channel. BYDFI is a KYC free exchange. You also do not need a VPN to trade here. All you need is an email and a password. They are offering, especially this first low initial deposit bonus. If you deposit just $100, you can get a 50% initial deposit bonus. That's a great way to get started trading. Low amounts of money, so you're not giving up your life savings, and you get a great initial deposit to help you out there. But they're offering 50, 20, and 10% deposit bonuses depending on how much you deposit. That only goes till July 3rd, so take advantage of that. They're offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you trade in the futures market. And if you use my affiliate link, you get a minimum of a 17% discount on trading fees. But if you deposit larger amounts of money, you can get higher discounts on your trading fees. Second up, we do have NAMI. NAMI is a great momentum and money flow indicator that I use to help me find those entries and exits when we get down confirmations to enter trades when we do get down to our levels of support or up to our levels of resistance. Right now, they're offering a 50% discount for a limited time if you use my affiliate link, and that link is in the description. The discount code is in the description, and the discount code is Divine50 for anyone who's wondering. So if you're interested in using NAMI, it's a great indicator. It's in the description below. And then lastly, we have MEXC. They're offering 10% cash back on your initial deposit and up to $20,000 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you trade in the futures markets. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.